In my experience, there are 4 stages to the addiction and recovery process. There's the euphoric stage at the beginning. Everything feels great. I love this. And then there's the indifferent stage where, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm addicted, but that's okay. And then there's the catastrophic phase where, yeah, I'm addicted and it's not okay, and things are falling apart and I can't control it. And then there's the recovery phase, which looks different on different people, but I love it. So I've been playing tennis my whole life, and my favorite serve is a kick serve. It's a topspin serve that has a really odd shoulder motion that really wears down the shoulder pretty badly. And it's, my shoulder started hurting at my junior year, but my senior year it got real bad. And when I'd gone to the doctor initially, there was not the opiate awareness that there is now in medical practice. And so this 16-year-old kid, they sent home with some pills, and I felt like things felt better. And like not just my shoulder, but life in general seemed better when I would take these. I was I think probably pretty standard teenager. I was nervous about, friendships and about really just every aspect of my life. And when I was on the pills, all the worries just sort of went away. And I felt, confident and fulfilled, sort of. After the initial euphoric phase, there's this, it's probably the stage that kicks off right when you have your first come down. The first time you don't have drugs and start to feel negative effects as a result. I think the biggest negative is having your happiness tied to the number of pills in a bottle. Sure, I eliminated these underlying feelings of anxiety and doubt and fear, but then I brought in a whole new set of fears, which is the fear of not having them. If I ran out in the morning, I think I was going to be, I would know that I was okay through the day at least, but running out in the evening and knowing that I was going to wake up sick in the morning, not dreadfully sick, but just feeling achy and tired and lacking motivation, I would know that I was going to spend that next day getting more. So it was sort of a dread feeling. Eventually you get to the point where you're like, I'm not in control of this anymore, and it's really getting to the point where life is falling apart and I can't stop it. I was spending so much time and so many resources acquiring drugs that it felt like a full-time job. Plus, side effects from the medications had gotten to the point where I ended up in the hospital several times. I had 4 seizures before I got clean. And then I think that from there you can really go one of 3 ways. You can go to prison, because acquiring all these substances is not something that's easily done through legal means. Or you can die, overdose, or you can change. And honestly, toward the end of my addiction, death seemed like the easiest of those. Prison seemed like the most likely, and recovery was terrifying. And that's when I had to get help, when I truly knew that I was not going to be able to handle this anymore. Boy, in the early days of recovery, I hated it. I did not like the way I felt. But sticking with it, I developed new routines and incorporated recovery-specific activities. Going to meetings, talking with other people in recovery, and starting to open up honestly about my struggles. The way I feel about it is that true regret from the past comes from failing to learn the lessons of those times. And then for me, it's always about I love growing as a person. I love being able to better myself, but I also love the ability to then go and share that with people. As a kid, I started getting the call to ministry. And then, as I got into high school and got into drugs, pills are very effective at shutting off the call to ministry. They'll disconnect you real quick. My faith really came back in treatment. I think it was about probably the beginning of the second week. After everything was done for the day, I went up to the chapel, but I would go in there and think and pray. And that's about the same time that the call to ministry came back. Was about the time I got out of treatment. God was able to see something in me that God could use. So I went into the religious studies department at the University of Montana. I've been studying there for a few years now. I'll graduate next year. My plan is to go into prison ministry, which is where I want to be. Tell people I'm going to go get my Master's of Divinity so that I can go to prison. I love my life. I don't want to go back to any of that, any aspect of it. I don't miss it. I found purpose, and I found real motivation, and there's not a pill bottle that I'm tied to for happiness. And it's a fulfilling life now. And even though I probably would have talked your ear off trying to convince you back in the day that I had a fulfilling life, I didn't. Now I really do.